Having so much time on my hands used to be a fantasy of mine, something I just could not have in New York City. But now that we do have time during this pandemic, there are people dying in the hospitals, the healthcare system has collapsed, and the economy is down. Since I took a job as a commercial artist 15 years ago, I have not had that much time for myself. Right now it seems there is not much more to do than wait for the rebound. A lot of friends I speak to these days use this pause to figure things out, to find out what to do better in their lives. This is a great time to start exercising or going on a diet to improve your health. But also speak to people who finish personal projects, which is great. So am I, by the way. I work on this YouTube channel, and I'm learning tons of new stuff. By the way, I also developed a pricey whiskey habit and watched Watchmen on HBO. I went online shopping for fashion and Korean skin products. Very fatalistic. I'm also organizing my home using Marie Kondo's KonMari method. This video is about that. I will show you how I use this method to organize my art books. I will also tell you something about myself. So I've been a fan of Marie Kondo even before her show on Netflix. Look, I even did this cringeworthy piece of art. This is her, Marie Kondo. To be honest, I struggled with tidying up. I had a hard time watching the show. The husband of episode 1 works 50 to 60 hours a week, and then on the weekends, he has little energy and little time. What for? To buy things first, and then dump it all later? So this is me decluttering my art books, and this is me with my COVID-19 mask. And this is the ultimate retro-futuristic teenager girl band from the 60s, Shangri-Las. They're from Queens, New York, by the way. Tidying up your home is a great thing. I have all this time on my hands to transform my home into a better, nicer place. A space that is more organized and makes me happy. Our home isn't necessarily messy. It's an oasis of sort already. It doesn't mean there's no room for improvements. I'm not fully committed to the KonMari method, but I've been practicing to fold my clothes and put them away neatly in my drawer. But today I want to organize my art and photography books. I've acquired over 20 years living in New York. Being an artist photographer, this little area means so much to me. I've enjoyed and studied these books and learned so much. I'm not adding another bookshelf for sure. As you can see, there is not much, if any, space anymore. It seems like I'm stuck within this area. I'm starting the process of decluttering and organizing my art books by taking the books out of the bookshelf and placing them in the middle of the room. It's strange and exciting to see these books on the floor like that and sort through them. This is pure nostalgia, all noodled up together. My books say something about me. They tell my story. They say something about the world I live in and how I choose to see it. This means a lot to me. So here, I will sort out what I will keep and what I will part ways. What would be my criteria to hold on to a book? To me, it's personal. These are books that tell my story as well. I have a connection with these books. It's like I found a friend that I love to have a conversation about art with. I love to listen to. In Marie Kondo's words, we share a home together. There's so much knowledge packed in art books. When you apply yourself to the mix, you gain clarity of who you are and how you relate to this world. Let me give you examples. Let me share some of my favorite books. In case you have not noticed yet, I'm an angsty person who loves angsty art. If this book weren't somehow dark, I would not like it. Here's a warning. I'm only telling you about how I feel about certain books and why they mean a lot to me. I'm not a critic, I'm not trying to sell you this. I'm just self-reflecting. Looking at this book makes me want to travel back in time, tune in, drop out, pop Molly, and do mushrooms. Just because. Seriously, I always have loved the 60s. The 60s were great how they challenged norms and outdated values, and I like the creativity that came from experimentation. However, if you don't dig deeper, it can easily seem that artists of color were mostly absent from the 60s, and that's a shame. It's not that artists of color did not contribute, they did. Recently, I find it more rewarding to scope out artists of color who did amazing work in the past. Why is the art world still dominated by white straight baby boomers? Enough already. Of all books I have, this would have to be my favorite. I always had a thing for the desert. I wouldn't be happy with this just being a Nobuyoshi Araki book, but a collab with Goldin is just the icing on the cake. Representation counts. Asian representation means a lot to me. I was born in the Philippines to a Filipino father and a German mother. Growing up in Germany was frustrating at times for someone like me. When this book came out in 1994, you rarely came across people of color telling their personal stories. You would not see Asians on TV either, ever, so this book is personal to me. Okay, these are not diaspora Filipinos depicted here, but in 1994 in Germany, I could relate to the fact that these are people of color. This was special. It still is special to me. It sounds so corny when people claim that upon mastering photography, the camera becomes sort of an extension of your body. I hope I don't sound that corny. In recent years, I've come to believe that a photographer needs to think less and feel more. I'm not thinking about being able to connect with the viewer through empathy, which is also good, I think. I'm talking about simply feeling, on the job, if you will. I used to believe you make pictures instead of taking them. As far as I'm concerned now, you don't make pictures either. You live them. You only live your work if you don't overthink. This photographer grew up in Florida but moved to his parents' home in India. Do I need to say more than this is what he experienced? I've been an artist/commercial artist my entire life. Art has always been a love-hate relationship for me, until I realized that the problem I have is straying from the joy I experience creating and care too much about what others think of me. If you don't have fun creating amongst the struggle and pain you experience in life, you're doing something wrong. It's the best thing in the world to do what the heck you want, and more importantly, go for it. Sure, I'm old now and have slowed and calmed over the years, which is good because now by default, I care even less what others think of me. Possibilities come to you and open up if you don't care what other people think. This is what this book represents to me. So in the future, I want to collect more books like this. I'd rather pay a little more for something special, something that I love. This photographer is from Japan but moved to New York in 1988 before they started with gentrification. A lot of people that come to New York from abroad are for the longest time referred to as aliens and also outsiders. But looking at these pictures, I don't see an outsider taking pictures. I see acceptance by the subjects towards the artist. I do not see a Japanese photographer either. I just see a great New Yorker photographer. So here's the thing. A lot of you average American New Yorkers are in every regard way more outsiders than this photographer anyway, when they go to say Harlem or Bedford-Stuyvesant. Putting people in boxes is funny to me these days. So I guess it's time to put the books that I will keep back on the shelf. Moving along with this, I need to find a functional system, an order that works. So this is my organized bookshelf. I love it. All books can easily be found. They have space to breathe and are located within their particular styles, genres, or eras. Looking through some B-roll footage I shot of my books earlier today, I really have to say I love all of my books. It was for sure fun and exciting to reacquaint myself with them and take a ride on personal memory lane, but also feel empowered to part with them in appreciation. It's great to find clarity, resolve, and sort of map out my own future creatively. In say 5 to 10 years, there might be totally fresh ideas that find their way to my bookshelf. I think that's super exciting. I might have to do this decluttering again somewhere down the line. I for sure have this video as a reference. So these books I will part with. It really is a shocking mountain of love, isn't it? But these guys need a new home. Someone will love them just as much, I'm sure. This is the time to say thank you and goodbye. Ah, a beautiful day in Brooklyn. #Speedball.